Montana just banned TikTok. It is the first of any of the 50 states to take such a stance. I'm sure many more will follow, some of the more deep red states.
And it's kind of scary.
Because on one hand, I do agree with the sentiment that the degeneracy on TikTok should be eliminated, exposure should be limited, the reach should be hush-hush. But on the other hand, when you look at some of the legislation related to the Restrict Act and just what that entails in terms of how it affects the individual consumer, the private citizen,
it's terrifying.
Now, this isn't going to be a comprehensive video on the Restrict Act. Matter of fact, I'm going to find a resource and link it in the description of the video below. If you do want more information on what the Restrict Act is, it's been referenced as the PATRIOT Act 2.0.
It is the PATRIOT Act 2.0 for the internet.
With some of the restrictions and potentials for the stochastic terrorism and things of that nature to come from this. However, this is going to move on to the specifics of the first of its kind law of how Montana banned TikTok. So without further ado, we're going to introduce an article from Gizmodo. Montana just passed the first state TikTok ban. The first of its kind law bans TikTok on devices in Montana and paves the way for copycat legislation in other states. They go on to say Montana made history on Friday by becoming the first state legislature to approve a wholesale TikTok affecting, or it must be ban, they misread the article, affecting nearly all devices in the state. The first of its kind ban, which goes far beyond previous state efforts banning the app on government devices, could set the precedent for a wave of TikTok bans in other Republican-led states. I would imagine that would be places such as like Arkansas and, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Alabama, perhaps. Widespread TikTok bans, for better or worse, could become a reality. And it's scary, right? Because it's like, on one hand, people who know what is on TikTok, they know what the algorithm feeds children and people. They go, yes, I don't want my child on that. But at the same time, hesitant, because as most people are, by giving that kind of legislative power to ban apps like that. How far are they going to abuse that power? You know how the government works. We all understand this at this point. The article goes on. The Montana's House of Representatives voted in favor of the bill called SB 419 by a margin of 54 to 43 on Friday afternoon. So it was close. Montana's state senate already approved the bill back in March, meaning the only thing preventing it from becoming law is a signature from the governor and known journalist body slammer Greg Gianforte. Once signed, the ban will take effect in January 2024. However, the bill would become void if Congress enacts its own national TikTok ban. The bill also wouldn't apply if TikTok divests its U.S. business from Chinese ownership. So essentially, this ban only is in effect or in place if it's still completely Chinese owned and if the federal government chooses to not enact any kind of federal policy regarding the censorship of TikTok. So I'm sure what most people are curious about this is how would it work, right? Like, are you going to, if you have TikTok on your phone, are you going to like drive into the state and all of a sudden like you're getting arrested because you have TikTok on your phone and alerted the authorities, like things like that, right? So what does the article say? So the bill prohibits TikTok from operating within the territorial jurisdiction of Montana over fears the app could be manipulated by the Chinese government for espionage purposes. If TikTok or app stores violate the law, Montana's Department of Justice could slap them with penalties of up to $10,000 a day for the length of the violation. Those fines would apply to entities facilitating TikTok's download rather than the app's users. So the fine is on TikTok's end. So essentially, they're going to leave it in TikTok's hands to facilitate that data in those areas. And so I'm imagining TikTok has their own processes in which they can eliminate usage in certain areas, which is wild to think that we have technology that can do that right now. But I mean, we all have GPS and things like that. So it's no wonder it's like you cross this line. It's like, boop, TikTok can't work here. They go on. TikTok endangers the safety of Montanans and Americans at large. State Senator Shelley Vance, one of the bill's primary authors, said, according to KTVH, we know that beyond a doubt that TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, is operating as a surveillance arm of the Chinese Communist Party and gathers information about Americans against their will. I mean, CCP does too, but I mean, our own big tech industries do it here in the States. You know, I don't know why they don't flame them as well here. It's okay when it's our own people doing it, I guess. It's worth noting here that while numerous lawmakers and intelligence agencies have justified banning TikTok out of national security concerns, there's still no concrete evidence the Chinese government has even used TikTok to surveil American users. But previous reporting has shown ByteDance employees in China can and have been able to view U.S. user data. In an email to Gizmodo, a TikTok spokesperson said the bill amounted to censorship and would almost certainly be challenged by courts, which is what I said when I prefaced this video. It's kind of terrifying to think, like, what kind of avenues are we opening up with this ban? And let alone it's scary enough when it's on the state level, you know? I mean, imagine we're enacting the censorship on a federal level. We have a national policy about these things. We will continue to fight for TikTok users and creators in Montana whose livelihoods and First Amendment rights are threatened by this egregious government overreach, a TikTok spokesperson told Gizmodo. Now, I do get that, you know? Say you're someone who has like a lifting page on TikTok and you're not doing degenerate stuff, but say you're just making a lifting page using the normal trends of TikTok, and now you're making a living, you know, promoting a healthy lifestyle through TikTok. You know, maybe it's not the best form or long content, but maybe it's enough inspiration for somebody to get up off their ass and do something. Well, then it does kind of suck for people who are making their way through passive income doing content creation like that. Those are the people who I do feel for, and I would hope that, and I mean, let me walk it back a second. This talk of TikTok being banned for the Lord knows how long, I mean, at least a year, maybe 2 years now at this point, being talked about a lot. I would have hoped if you were a smart, business savvy individual and you were running a business on this platform, you would have had a backup at this point, or you would have at least enveloped some kind of backup plan in your head in case this exactly happens in your state and now you can't use TikTok and you can't pull your money off of there anymore. I would hope you would have had some plans in place, that you would have been pulling your followers, subs, you would have been getting them from one platform to another or on your own membership website yourself. That way you don't automatically lose all of your income like that. I mean, there's a bunch of ways you can do to prevent that, or, you know, you can mitigate how much you'll lose out on. And for those of you who do put out degenerate content and make money off of it, screw you. Opponents of the Montana bill, like the ACLU, say it would violate the First Amendment and be a disaster for freedom of expression. In a letter sent to lawmakers earlier this week, the ACLU and 5 other civil liberties organizations said they had failed to prove TikTok poses any immediate harm to Montana residents. And I mean, you have to be stupid to believe that on its face. If you understand the basic concept that social media is like a net negative to human society, then what makes you think that TikTok is any different? I mean, quite frankly, they think that you're stupid enough to believe that, and I find that just disrespectful. The ACLU spokesperson continues, Montana's TikTok bill is censorship, plain and simple. I mean, it is. I agree with that. This was said by Senior Policy Counsel Jenna Leventoff, said in a statement, Montanans deserve better than to have their representatives violate their free speech rights by cutting them off from a unique platform that allows them to speak their minds, exchange information, and learn new things. I mean, let me cut to this camera real quick. Where was that energy when it was well known that Twitter, Facebook, Instagram was banning almost only and exclusively conservative and right-leaning individuals while enhancing the reach of left-wing individuals? We literally have the entire breakdown of the Twitter files, Matt Taibbi, and now with TikTok is where you draw this line now of your free speech are being violated. Like, my only opinion that is like, fuck off. Like, I can't stand the people who only talk out of one side of their mouth when it only, like, they don't believe in the principle behind it. They believe in our side needs to be right, our side, our side, our side. And they don't stand behind the principle itself, which is don't censor people.
Anyways,
So the article continues, did Montana just pave the way for a nationwide ban? Perhaps. I think that this definitely opens the door for it, obviously. I think maybe now they will see how this kind of experiment will work in the state of Montana, how will people take it there, see how a red state does it, and then maybe perhaps they will implement pieces of what this ban entails, or maybe not at all. Maybe this is a complete failure and it gets boycotted out somehow, but maybe people will find a way. I guess time will tell. This only happened yesterday. But forgive me, they say, by approving the nation's first TikTok ban, Montana may have just given a green light to Republican lawmakers across the country to push forward with their own copycat bills. If that happens, TikTok may have no choice but to agree to a forced spinoff of its U.S. business currently favored by the Biden administration, which is to fork the company into a U.S.-owned version that is separate and ensured that it is not in any way in communications or connected to the CCP. A patchwork of state TikTok bans could also encourage lawmakers in Congress to rip the Band-Aid off and pursue its own federal TikTok ban. Like what I just said, probably see how the state one works and then move forward. While that seemed unlikely just a few months ago, lawmakers from both sides of the political aisle seemed united in their aggressive stance towards TikTok during a combative hearing with the company's CEO last month. There are currently around half a dozen bills floating around DC that one way or another would end up with TikTok banned. And so that's the sentiment, right? Is that there's a lot of energy behind TikTok being banned. But when you look at it through the light of like what the Restrict Act is kind of entailing and kind of asking for its power structure to do what it does.
It is downright terrifying.
And again, once again, I'm going to say it. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate it. I've never asked before, but if you do like and subscribe, it helps me a lot, obviously. But again, if you go to the description in the video, I will link a good resource so you can look up the Restrict Act. Get yourself knowledgeable about the dangers to come and some of the real darkness of what is 4th and 5th generational warfare. And with that, peace.